And here we go again, the big move in the S&Ps on this recovery overnight session. And here we did it again. Just a few days ago, I was talking about how far the SPY had gotten away from the covered call close on the January expirations on the SPYs. And that last week, they were rolling all those calls, the trade that's been quite successful for many months and even potentially years, for the most part. And basically, I didn't think there was much chance. I think that's going to. We had quite a bit of time left. I thought it was going to take a while to recover that, and here we are in just 2 days of trading, and we are all the way back up to break even. So anybody who had those SPY positions that I was just talking about 2 days ago are now awfully close to break even from that week. So, wow, what a reversal of fortune here in the markets. Amazing. And does that mean that the markets are out of the woods? I don't know. I mean, this is a very volatile trading range here in the markets. And we do have room based on our fib fans. We have room to be coming back up to the all-time highs and potentially breaking to new all-time highs here in the markets if you just look at the fib fans alone. So, but seeing as we ran into resistance up here, that's likely, and that's also outside of the let's see here. Those things are wrong, I think. Yeah. Okay. So you can't really use, these are the market maker move study. That's based on daily equations. So I've got that study on here, and you can't really go by that on my charting here. I'm sorry. I should have turned that off before I did my chart. Okay, 1 second here. Okay, yesterday I had mentioned that 230 was my next target for the Qs, and we are running with steam here into that 230 level on the Qs. I think we're going to be opening from here at the time I'm doing the video. We're going to be opening even higher, or pushing even higher today into the markets, in my opinion. It's just the bulls have control, and until that changes, I mean, higher levels, that's the way you got to look at this. So just keep that one on your watch here. IWM is rocking to the upside as well, potentially backtesting the breakdown from the 2020 close. So just keep that in the cards. Looks like more upside for that backtest. And then if you look at my ES futures, we are just a hair shy from backtesting this untested VPOC. So that's where I think the markets are going. So I still think there's more upside potential into the open. We got the NQs, the Nasdaq futures, clearly breaking out a significant resistance level that I have on my charting, breaking out to on very strong strength here in the Qs. And then what I'm seeing here on the Russell futures, we do have a daily VPOC up here at the 1679 area, and we're backtesting the year open, year open 2020 open. But I think we're even going to have a little bit more upside, 1679 area today on the Russell. That'd be my first target. And then the weekly target on the Russell would be 1689. And we saw some relative strength in Asia across the board today. So this could see a significant short squeeze in the energy sector, driving the Russell to the upside. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit at Tesla. All the signs that I look for Tesla for a blow off top, we were satisfying that yesterday, and I was being very concerned, suggesting that we finally hit the potential top. Everybody and their brother was trading Tesla yesterday, and basically, Tesla literally had to stay center stage the rest of the week to maintain that type of hype and exhilaration in a stock. And comes a point in time when the hype and exhilaration just gets so overblown that a snapback is inevitable. And so far this morning, we actually came all the way back down to 840 on price. And the snapback is not necessarily what I'm referring to on the stock itself. I'm talking about the options themselves. The exuberance yesterday was just off the chart. It was 100. They finally settled at 170% implied volatility for options that only have 2 days out. You know, it rarely ever sees that kind of implied volatility on earnings. Okay, and it's just unreal, the implied volatility and how much the option traders were pumping up these options. And basically, the only trade you could take for an overnight session is a selling premium at this point. Anybody and everybody who bought and held the weekly options for the overnight session, you were basically an idiot. I mean, you know, you cannot have these type of implied volatilities. And even with a move like we had in the overnight session, you're going to be lucky. A lot of traders in these put options, even if we open lower here, you're going to be lucky to break even on the trades. I mean, with this implied volatility like this. So, you know, credit spread, you want to be a net seller of options when the implied volatilities get jacked like that. And there's such a skew here. It's not just that it's 158%. The average implied volatility, well, it reset now. It's 120. You know, it came in yesterday. It was only 70%. Okay, so now you know you're skewed so far away from your average implied volatility, and then your historical volatility. Let's see here. Where is that at? Yesterday, your HV percentile, you know, you were still only around the 13-20% range. Now you're at 100% on historical value. So this thing is maxed out to the highest level it's ever, it ever gets on historical value volatility. So this thing just absolutely jacked to the moon. You know, anytime you get 100% read on the historical volatility percentile, you know, you want to be a net seller of options. You do not want to buy the short dated options or basically any of the options. So you just basically want to pick your direction and sell spreads or sell contracts and take in the premium on that sell. So I just wanted to give you that heads up here. You know, Tesla is probably going to have a far less volume for the rest of the week as big money is going to completely destroy anybody who bought into these options the past couple of days. And both sides of the equation is probably going to have one heck of a haircut. So just keep that in mind, in my opinion, that yeah, we might be get some responsive selling $50 trading range or something like that. But I think you're going to see a lot more settling down in the Tesla trade, and a lot of people, a lot of traders getting slammed here on this implied volatility crash. Because that's the only trade I know for sure. I don't know what the price is going to go. All I do know is this 168% on implied volatility in 2 days, that becomes zero. Okay, so you know that's the only absolute trade that I'm positive is going to happen in the next 2 days. So just wanted to, you know, make that one last comment. Well, Ford just absolutely got riveted in the after-hours session. Earnings weren't that great to begin with. And then they're already talking about production cuts because of supply issues. And I mentioned this yesterday morning in the chat room. I mean, there are major manufacturing issues setting up here. All these companies in the U.S. have just-in-time inventories and basically running 3-4 week out on parts. And guess what? Those parts, the pipelines, starting to break down. And as we heard yesterday evening, Hyundai's already suspended manufacturing. They don't keep a supply chain as deep as we do because they're so close to China. So they have already had to shut their plants down on Hyundai. there in Korea. So this is a very dangerous situation in the auto industry, and that kind of falls with Tesla too. I mean, they got a brand new plant in China. You have to ask yourself in the back of your mind, how is this shutdown going to impact their supply chain? You know, here they are, they're getting bid up to atmospheric levels here, and no real price value at these multiples. And what's going to happen if a news headline comes out that they're having supply chain issues? It's just going to get absolutely destroyed here. So just keep that in mind. A lot of risk to the downside, Tesla, especially when you have supply chain issues that all these companies seem to be coming out and quoting. And Ford, especially, you have to really pay attention to exactly the narrative that's coming out here in these markets. Another one got riveted in the overnight session. That was Gilead on volume. It seems to be trying to hold out here. At least from Earnings Whisper, the consensus view for earnings was 162, and they only hit 130. So I'm not sure how accurate that information is, but you had high volume. So far, it isn't moving very much in the after-hours session, but the volumes were hitting it pretty heavy here. If that's the case, and they missed by that much, can very easily see this thing. Yeah, it missed back in. Yeah, it's showing it earnings miss. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this thing can probably get riveted pretty hard to the downside today on Gilead. So, and that's going to be a volume leader for the session. Okay, TakeTwo, and that's in gaming. And you would have thought the gaming industry, with the holiday season supposedly as good as it was, would have been very good. But TakeTwo Interactive, which is one of the gamers like Activision Blizzard, it seems to have missed on its earnings estimates here. So just keep that in mind. We do have a nice little sell-off happening here in TakeTwo in the after-hours session on a little bit lighter than normal volume. I didn't realize that they were even trading or reporting today. I thought that was it wasn't coming till tomorrow, but it looks like they pre-announced today, and it's taking it down. Another one that seems to be marking lower on some volume. It's the chart's really not showing it, but it's showing 46.25 for Cree here in the after-hours session on some decent-sized volume after hours. So keep that one on your watch. Some things that are happening here. China was up again in the after-hours session. A continued short squeeze in the Chinese equities. Alibaba's continuing its epic move higher into Thursday's earnings. So keep that in mind that we're probably going to see new all-time highs in Alibaba come Thursday on the earnings. And then we had JD was yesterday morning. JD was really hot. It's still holding in there really good here to the upside. So KWEB, that's your ETF for the internet sector. Looks like plenty of room to the upside if the markets decide to support the internet, Chinese internet's names. So just keep that one on your watch here for further upside potential in the Chinese internet space. And along with that, we'll look at Baidu real quick. That's the three main ones. And this one here, we have earnings also coming out here on Baidu. So that's something not to, we beat last time. So we want to keep that on watch here. Baidu is coming out, Thursday night on Baidu. So that's another one we want to keep on our watch here. And for potential, look how relative to, it's not like the U.S. markets. Baidu's way down here relative to the U.S. markets already. So, I think it was a really good quarter for the most part in the Chinese markets up until the virus outbreak hit the markets. So that's something to keep on watch going forward here. Okay. That's just some of the things that are happening this morning. We are having an epic short squeeze rally in the markets post the Trump State of the Union. He really talked up American equities and how how well everything was going in our country, and he was rightfully so for some of the stuff he was talking about. And but at any rate, I'm not getting political or anything on that, but um, just keep that in mind going forward here, that it looks like we have a sustained bid in these markets going forward here today. So um, good luck and good trading, and watch your market breadth and stuff, and we'll see if this move can be sustained. See ya. Oh, I forgot about Disney. 1 second here. Looks like it's starting to catch a little bit of a bid. I still think it's going to 148 today. So anybody who the markets do have a bid underneath them, I do think Disney is going to 148 today. So just keep that in mind. I am long Disney. Nvidia, we got earnings coming out next week. Showed some relative strength. It's already catching a nice little bid here in the after-hour session. So I am along Nvidia too. It is actually running into my target. This was an untested VPOC. So I might be trimming my position in NVIDIA, waiting for a better setup. But that was my plan on NVIDIA, and it looks like it's achieving that. And what was the other one that I had? 1 second here. And my final position, my buddy in my other chat room, he had 373 as his target, upside target on Netflix. I think actually the upside target should be more like the 376 area. That's an untested VPOC, so that's an additional $3. If Disney were to catch a bid, I do think the streaming numbers were incredible. The new subscriptions out of Disney, and I do think, like I mentioned in chat, that I think it's going to put a narrative of continued growth into the streaming space, and it's going to actually be bullish for Netflix today. So I'm actually still thinking we're going to reach for the 376 today on Netflix, and that'd be great if we opened at 373 right there at the open, and it kind of looks like that is a really nice area for a nice little quick pop at the open here on Netflix. So potential given my Venom lines on my market webs. So that's let's see if we can hold out here going into the open here on the markets, which I do think is going to be a sustained bid into the open. So okay, that's everything I got to say. Like the video if you like it. Please leave comments if you got ideas and stuff. I want to hear about your ideas so I can integrate them into my trading platform and everything and stuff. And if you got any questions or anything, you can always leave me your email at the bottom. So thanks a lot for viewing my videos, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback on these videos. But you trade the markets, whatever the markets give you, you trade it. And just a few last week, I was bearish on the markets, and you notice all of a sudden my tone has changed. As of today, SPY covered calls look like they're going to start making money, and that's going to be an additional catalyst for SPY to even further highs if that's the case. So basically, we've only got a few things like I forgot one thing to mention too. Oh, this is the last thing I want to talk about. See the purple line up here? This right at all-time highs. The diamonds rode the options last month. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be extremely difficult at this point for the diamonds to become solvent for the end of the month. But then again, we have a major Dow component today, and that's Disney. If we get a sustained bid in Disney that just reported, and I think Merck, Merck might actually be reporting today too. I didn't look. So just keep that in mind. That could be a catalyst to the upside. We did have news that Nike did announce they are going to have a sustained negative impact from the shutdown in China. So just keep that in mind. That can be a dragger on the diamonds today, with Nike potentially lagging a little bit into the session. So just keep that in mind. But it looks like the diamonds are marking all the way up here. So, almost a third of the move back to solvent for the month, or from the roll. We're getting almost a third of that move already. Okay, we're marking at 291.01, so we're getting almost half the move already. So that is a very impressive move in the diamonds. So all these indices all look like they are trying to push above that roll date back in January. So very bullish signal going forward here in the markets.